Hey everybody, I'm just making another video here to help you with this new lesson. It's all on circles. We're going to start with circumference and finding circumference and kind of looking at the different parts of a circle. Right now this is the home page after you log in to HRW. You can see all the assignments on the left side of the screen here are all the things you should have already done. And these are the two assignments that I've posted. You will need to do the one that's called Are You Ready first, and then I would work on this one, but I strongly suggest watching this video first. So again, this little date down here, this isn't really as important as it is the due date on Google Classroom, but you will need to do this one first. I'm not going to give you too much help on this video for this particular set of problems. You're just going to have to solve a couple of these. You can use paper and pencil. Even if you want to check them with the calculator, it's totally up to you. That's fine. These are just kind of little test problems to see how well you do with some of these. I can also post a picture with all the different formulas for you for this, for triangles and finding the area of a triangle and finding the area of a rectangle and all that stuff. And I'll post that in Google Classroom for you, so if you need some help with that, you can put that on there. But I want you to try these problems out first. And if I see we have a lot of people have a hard time with this, then we'll try to make another video here. But what I really want to do is I want to focus on the other assignment, which is this one. Okay, once you get to this page, you can watch the video. There's also another video in the blue section here and in the purple section. They kind of walk you through a couple things, and you can watch these videos. It's probably not going to be as helpful as the one I'm about to show you right here, but I am going to put up the red personal math trainer problems for you. Okay, so again, like I said, I'm going to help you with a lot of the different parts of a circle to help you do some of these problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a little screen here for you. This is pretty much everything you need to know about a circle to do the problems in this section. And you can read this, you can pause the video and take a look at it. Radius is a line that goes from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. Diameter goes all the way through the circle. And the circumference is the distance around the circle. Alright, and the only formula you're really going to need to know is the formula to find the distance around a circle. So to find circumference, you have to take pi, which you can use any one of these values for pi. And pi is just the ratio of circumference to the diameter. If you divide the circumference and the diameter, if you know what the circumference is, and you divide by the diameter, you should get a number close to 3.14, if not like right on. Alright, so the radius is always the smaller one, the diameter is always the bigger one, the radius is always half the diameter. You could always double the radius and you should be able to get the diameter, but I kind of put this in all caps to let you know the diameter is always the bigger number, okay? So if I had a diameter, if you take half of it, you should be able to find the radius. So for instance, on number 1 in the personal math trainer problem, they give you this little line here. This means that this is the diameter, it goes all the way through. And it says around the nearest hundredth. This is the diameter is 3, so that means that this right here, all the way through here is 3. They want the radius, well, I guess they don't want the radius, but the radius would be half of that, so the radius is 1.5. Alright, but what they're asking for is the circumference. So to find circumference, I'm going to actually move this thing up a little bit so you can still see the picture. Okay, so we're trying to find circumference. So circumference equals pi times your diameter, and they actually tell you what the diameter is here. It's 3. So we want to use 3. I'm actually going to use the color we have here. So we're going to put a 3 here. So I got to do 3 times pi. Alright, and they said to use 3.14. So you're going to have to maybe pull up a calculator, and we're going to have to get that answer. Alright, so what they want here is they want to take 3.14 and they're going to put it here. So they're going to say 3.14, and they're going to multiply that times 3. And if you use a calculator, you should be able to get the answer that we're looking for. So circumference is 9.42, or 9 and 42 hundredths. And they said to round to the nearest hundredth. Well, this ends in the hundredths place, so that's what we're just going to type in here is 9.42, and we should be set. Next, all right, so I'm going to skip this one. It's very similar. We're going to do one like this. All right, so they're looking for circumference again, but this time they're telling you that this line right here represents 25 inches, and this little line right here is not a diameter. It's actually half of that. This is the radius. This is a smaller part. To find circumference, which is the formula right here, you could use this formula right here if you knew what the diameter was. And actually, it's really easy to figure out what the diameter is, because if the radius, this radius right here is 25. If I take 25, let's say this is 25 right here. If I double that, it should give me the diameter, because 25 and 25 would make a diameter. 25 and 25 make 50. So we know the diameter is going to be 50. So we're going to actually rewrite this. C equals, like they want you to use 3.14 for pi. And now we know that the diameter is going to be 50 because the radius is 25. Actually, probably should use the different color here. They're telling you that the radius is 25. That's the radius up here. So if you had 25 and 25, that's going to make the diameter 50. All right, so you can use a calculator here, and then we're going to get an answer. All right, so after using a calculator, we can determine that the circumference is going to be 157, and this is just going to be inches here. So we're just going to type in 157, and we should be set. All right, so we are going to look at this one. This one is it's kind of an interesting one. They tell you sort of what this this formula over here looks like. I can get my mouse to work. Here we go. All right, so I'm actually going to write this down over here so we can see it. So they're telling us that C equals, here's pi. Pi is right here, so we can use the pi. And remember, to multiply, or to find circumference, you have to multiply pi times the diameter. The diameter here, they're telling us is 6. So they're telling us the diameter is 6 because they're writing down that formula. They're saying pi times 6. 6 has to be the diameter. So over here we can type in a 6. And I'm going to go back to this thing real quick. So they're saying that if this is 6, this diameter all the way through is 6, they also want the radius. And the radius is the small part. Remember, it's half of that. So if the diameter is 6, to make 6, you divide that by, or sorry, to find the radius, you divide that by 2. Because I want 2 equal parts. So if we divide this by 2, it's going to give us an answer of 3, because 3 and 3 make 6. So the radius has to be 3. Alright, so that's half of what the diameter is. Whoops, I typed in 6 again. Here we go. Alright, so this one's a pretty easy one. I think you can try to figure this one out just by kind of dragging those in there. This should be kind of common sense. We're going to try a different one. Alright, so I'm only going to do a few more here. This is number 6. It says the diameter of a circle is 11 meters. Complete the description how you would find the circumference. Okay, circumference, this answer, they're not really looking for anything specific. They just want to write in the formula that we're going to use. So we're going to use pi times d. So you're going to use this little button here for pi. You have to type in a d. That's the formula you want to use. You want to substitute 3.4 in for pi. And 11 was, they told us the diameter. So we're going to use the diameter. That one's a pretty easy one. Let's do number 8. Okay, so again, this is very much like the other ones. I'm going to do this one pretty quickly here. This time they don't want to use 3.14 for pi. They want to use 22/7, which is also very close to pi. So whenever you use your formula here, you just want to replace this pi symbol with 22/7. You're going to use what they give you here. This is a diameter. It goes all the way through the circle. So this is just like over here. It's all the way through the diameter. So 91 is your diameter. So we have to take 91. We're going to multiply these two things. And this is going to help us find the circumference. And you could use a calculator for this if you really want to. You could also I'm actually going to use a different color here. You could also make this a fraction. You could cross simplify if you'd like here. Actually, this works out pretty nicely. 91 and 7 can actually be simplified. You can divide them both by 7. If you divide 7 by 7, it becomes a 1. 91 divided by 7 is actually 13. It's a bad 3. So that's 13. So that means you'd multiply 22 times 13, and it should give us what our circumference is. That is 286. And again, this is just the distance. This is telling us the distance around the circle. That's what the circumference is. So if you were to actually measure a circle that had a diameter of 91 inches, which is actually pretty big, the distance around that circle is 286 inches. So we're going to type in 286. And I typed in the wrong number again. Alright, so we're going to try actually one more here. Alright, so it's a little bit of a harder one, but I want to make sure that we try. Okay, so in this last one, it says a circular path. There is a circular path 4 feet wide and has an inner diameter of 550 feet. How much farther is it around the outer edge of the path than around the inner edge? Rounding the nearest hundredth using 3.14 for pi. Okay, so for this problem, they want to know, since the outer edge of the path is blank feet farther around, we need to find 2 circumferences. Okay, so in order to do that, kind of drew a little bit of diagram here. So this is, let's pretend this is like a little lake, like a circular lake, and there's a sidewalk, like a little sidewalk that goes around here. This is sort of what they're talking about. So this sidewalk, they're telling us, is 4 feet wide. All right, so let's look at the lake first. So it says the diameter of the inner circle. So this inner circle right here, the lake, is 550 feet. All right, so if I were to go from edge to edge here, that's 550 feet. Okay, so that's my diameter in the middle. So we could find one circumference right now. So let's find the bigger circumference first. So circumference, I'm sorry, of the inner circles. This is the inner circumference. Is going to be pi, which is 3.14, times your diameter, which is 550. That's a 0. Alright, so we have to multiply these two things to get the inner circle. And to get the outer circle, we need to, well, let's think here. We got, here, it's a different color here. So they're saying this sidewalk is an additional 4 feet. So they're saying that this width right here is 4 feet. Okay, that means you're adding 4 feet here. That's 4 feet. And this is 4 feet on this side. So if we look at the outer circle here, the diameter is 550 feet plus an additional 4 and another 4. So if we add everything up here, this whole circumference in the middle, use a different color here, the circumference from here to here would be 558. So let's do a different circumference. So this is the outer circumference. So we're going to use 3.14 again. This time we want to use the bigger diameter for the whole thing is 558 feet because I had to add 4 feet on each end for the sidewalk width. Alright, so we need to find these 2 circumferences. So in order to do that, we're going to use a calculator. Alright, so we're going to get the inner circumference is going to be 1,727 feet. 7. And then this circumference, if we use a calculator, we should get, let's use a different color here, because this is the bigger circumference. So the bigger circumference here is going to be 1,752 and 12 hundredths feet. Okay, so what they want is, says the outer edge of the path is blank feet farther around than the inner edge. So I got to subtract these 2 numbers. Okay, so we have to take these 2 numbers and subtract them. So let's, here, move this up. We'll subtract them. Minus. And once you subtract these, you should get 25 and 12 hundredths. And you would just type this in the box here, and you should get your answer. If you need any help, please make sure you email me if you have any questions or anything, and good luck.